Welcome back to the next in our series of videos we call Quick Tips, where we give you hints and tips about different aspects of scuba diving equipment. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at some extra features and functions of your regulator's second stage. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Divers Ready. My name's James. As always, so great to see all of your smiling faces. Now, the other day I was on a dive boat and a diver next to me who was using their own regulator was complaining that they were finding it sort of tougher to breathe than usual, like it was a harder work on the second stage. And I asked them, well, do you have your adjustment knob turned all the way out? And they said, an adjustment what? Yeah, they didn't know. So I was inspired to make this video because I thought, well, if one person doesn't know, maybe more of you out there don't know about different features on particularly the higher end second stages. So if you haven't done so already, make your next dive on our subscribe button and I'll head over to the workbench and break it down for you. So this is one of my Dive-Rite XT4 second stages. This is a high-end, high-performance second stage regulator that I use for technical diving down to deep, deep depths. This is not, by the way, a sponsored video. It's just the first second stage I put my hands on, and I like it a lot and I use them all the time. There are really three features that I want to share with you that you should be looking for in a high-end second stage, okay? The first is reversibility. What I mean by that is that some second stage regulators have the ability to be reversed so that the hose actually applies into the second stage from the opposite side. So as you can see, I've got this one set up so the hose is coming in from my right as I'm breathing off of it. But if you have an actual look at the body of the second stage, you'll see that it's machined in a mirrored position. So if I was to take this to an authorized Dive-Rite service technician, and this should never be done at home by the way, they can take the internal workings of the regulator out, flip it around, put it in the other side, swap over the two adjustment positions, which we'll talk about in a moment, to the opposite side, and then have my hose coming in from the left. Now, the reasons you might want to do this are various, but just for the sakes of different configurations, particularly, for example, side mount, or if you were using this as a stage regulator and you wanted it to have the hose coming in from the opposite side because it made sense for your configuration. But just that it's reversible is a really, really nice feature. Not all second stage regulators are reversible. Next up is the Venturi lever, sometimes called a Venturi arm. And to show you the functioning of this device, I've actually just removed the purge button cap and the diaphragm. So if I just show you here on the overhead camera, as I'm working this lever backwards and forwards, what that's doing is turning kind of a cuff, a little plastic barrel that sits around the housing of the actual regulator itself, and it's just acting like a little bit of a deflector shield. So what Venturi actually is a physics effect when a gas or a fluid is passing from a wider area into a narrower channel. There is something called Venturi, which is where the gas will actually accelerate and the pressure will drop. So what that causes in second stage, as your hose is supplying gas to the second stage for you to breathe, is kind of an eddying or swirling effect of the gas inside the second stage, which can lead to your regulator free flowing. So if you've ever turned your gas on a cylinder and your second stage has immediately started free flowing, you would normally cover your mouthpiece with your hand, and that would provide resistance so that the pressure would build up in here, relieve the tension on the arm, and your regulator would stop free flowing. So all a Venturi lever is doing is basically doing that for you. So if you notice, there's two settings on the side here. This one is called pre-dive and dive. I've seen them shown as plus or minus signs. But anytime the regulator isn't in my mouth, I always have the lever set to pre-dive. That puts the collar over the orifice where the gas is actually being supplied, provides a little bit of resistance there, breaks up the eddying effect, and means my second stage won't free flow. As soon as I put the regulator in my mouth to go diving, I flick that lever into dive, and I just get a little bit of a smoother gas flow. Now, it's not going to free flow while it's in my mouth because my mouth is sealing around the mouthpiece and providing the resistance necessary. So it's just a little gas saving device that's going to stop your regulator from free flowing, and it's a really nice feature to have. Not all second stages have them, although most do these days. The third feature I've got for you is the adjustment knob. So the adjustment knob basically adjusts the cracking pressure, in other words, the amount of work you have to put in to move this lever, suck in this diaphragm, move this lever down to allow gas to enter in. So right now I've got this wound all the way in. If I was to loosen this all the way out and dial the adjustment knob into the all the way out position, this lever has a lot less tension on it because I'm relieving the tension on the spring in the main barrel. So what does that mean? That means that when I go to inhale, I have to use less work, less effort to overcome that spring and to supply gas as I'm breathing. So that is a really nice adjustment, particularly for people who like to dive deep and at higher ambient pressure. You have to work harder to breathe. So just dialing that knob out on deeper dives will give you a slightly easier work of breathing. Now both the Venturi lever and the adjustment knob, if I have the adjustment knob all the way in, and I have the Venturi lever in pre-breathe, of course that does nothing to shut off the gas. I can still breathe from the regulator perfectly fine. What these two features are doing are fine-tuning the way that the gas is being delivered through the second stage and the amount of work of breathing that I need to put in to achieve what's called the cracking pressure, which is the pressure required to overcome the bias spring inside and allow the gas to flow through into the second stage. One of the other things you want to consider if you're buying an X regulator is how easy is the adjustment knob going to be to work if I dive with thick gloves. So for cold water divers, something like this on the XT4 where it's metal and it's got a nice little bit of diamond grip on the outside of it, that's super easy to work even if you're wearing dry gloves. So there you have it. To recap, my three favorite features for a high-end second stage are reversibility, some kind of a Venturi lever, and an adjustment knob. I will of course link to the Dive-Right XT4 second stage, my current favorite second stage, in the description of this video below if you want to learn more. I hope this video will help you make a more informed purchase the next time you're shopping for a set of regulators. If it did, if you enjoyed it, if you learned something from it, give it the old thumbs up, hit that like button, and make your next dive right there on our subscribe button. It really helps us out to keep making these videos. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, my name's James. This was your Divers Ready video for this week. Dive safe, dive often.